The Runaway Shoes. There was once a little girl who would keep taking her shoes off in the garden. She liked to feel the grass prickling under her toes, but her mother scolded her and told her a dozen times a day to put her shoes on. Alice, there are sharp stones in the path, and maybe thorns or prickles in the grass, she said. You might even tread on a bit of broken glass if you run down by the rubbish heap. Then you had cut your feet badly and be very sorry for yourself. But Alice would not obey, so her mother made her mind to punish her. Alice, every time I call and see that you have no shoes on, I shall take 10 pence out of your money box to give to poor children, she said. Then perhaps you will remember about your shoes. Alice was cross. She was saving up for a wheelbarrow, and she did not want her money to be given away. So she sat in a corner of the garden and sulked. Then the naughty little girl thought of an idea. I know what I will do, she said to herself in a whisper. I'll take off my shoes and put them just here, behind this stone, and as soon as Mother calls me, I'll run and put them on quickly, and Mother will see me running up the garden with my shoes on. Wasn't she a deceitful little girl? Oh, but wait and see what happened. The shoes heard what Alice had said. They were shocked because they were good shoes and had cost a lot of money. They wanted Alice to behave nicely. We know what to do, whispered the right shoe to the left one. As soon as Alice takes us off, we'll run away and hide. Then when her mother calls her, she won't be able to find us, and she will get into trouble for being barefooted. So as soon as Alice had popped them behind the stone and gone to play in her bare feet, those two shoes kicked up their heels and ran off to hide under the lilac bush. They could not help giggling a bit. Presently, Alice's mother called her. Alice, Alice, I warned you. Coming, mother, called Alice and ran at once to put on her shoes. But dear me, they were not behind the stone. They were gone. Alice hunted about, but she could not find them. Her mother grew angry. Alice, don't you hear me calling? Come at once. Alice had to go, and her mother saw she had no shoes on. She was very angry. Well, Alice, she said, you must give me 10 pence out of your money box, please. So Alice had to do this, and she was sad. She ran back down the garden, and there were her shoes just behind the stone again. They had trotted there as soon as Alice had gone up the garden. Perhaps she will put us on again now, they whispered to one another. But you know, she did not. She glared at the shoes and simply could not understand how it was that they were behind the stone after all. I'm sure you were not there just now, she said. Well, you just stay there now, and I'll be able to put you on in a hurry if Mother calls again. But you may be sure that as soon as Alice's back was turned, those two shoes hopped off again as fast as they could. They ran to the lilac bush and squatted there laughing, as soon as they heard Alice's mother again. Alice, Alice, come here. Alice rushed to put on her shoes, but they were gone again, of course. They were not behind the stone at all. Alice was in a dreadful rage. Once again she had to go to her mother with no shoes on her feet. Alice, you really are a very naughty little girl, said her mother. That's another 10 pence out of your money box, please. Well, you won't be able to buy that wheelbarrow if you go on like this. Alice ran down the garden crying. That was a precious 20 pence gone. She suddenly caught sight of her two shoes sitting quietly behind the stone. She stared and stared. She could not understand how it was that they were there now when she had not been able to find them a few minutes ago. It was really very puzzling. Well, those shoes had a fine game with Alice that morning. 6 times they ran off, and 6 times poor Alice had to go to her mother without her shoes on and pay 10 pence out of her money box. Now she would not be able to buy the wheelbarrow for ages. There's something funny about those shoes, thought Alice to herself. I shall just hide behind the summer house and watch them. So she did, and to her great surprise, she saw them galloping off merrily to hide under the lilac bush. She ran after them, calling angrily, Shoes! Shoes! Where are you going? You have no right to hide away like that. You have got me into lots of trouble this morning. The shoes stopped and turned themselves around. We did not get you into trouble, said the right shoe. You got yourself into it. If you had put us on, everything would have been all right." "Well, I never knew shoes could talk before," cried Alice in surprise. "That shows how silly you are," said the left shoe. "You must know perfectly well, Alice, that lace-up shoes have tongues." "It's very unkind of you to disobey your mother," said the left shoe. "She only wants to save your feet from being cut or scratched. We're going to run away from you every time you take us off in the garden." "Then you'll have to give up all your money," said the right shoe, with a little skip on the grass. "And serve you right." "Well, you just won't run away anymore," said Alice angrily, and she took both the shoes into her hands. "I shall put you on and keep you on, and you won't be able to play horrid tricks on me anymore." She put them both on and tied the laces tightly. The shoes grinned at one another. "We have taught her a lesson," whispered the right shoe to the left. "She won't disobey again," chuckled the left shoe, squeaking as Alice ran down the garden. And she did not. The next time her mother called her, she went at once, with both her shoes on. Her mother was pleased. "At last you have decided to be a good girl," she said to Alice. "Just in time, too, or you would not have had a single coin left in your money box. I hope your shoes don't run off by themselves. Would not you be surprised?" The end.